been some time coming, but soon enough the Rubicon will be crossed and the biggest event in Nigeria's political calendar, short of the inauguration itself, will begin. And that's the process of trying to get Bola Tinubu's election victory to be legally quashed. Now let's be clear that whatever portents you have and whatever crystal balls you look into, it's by no means clear who's got the upside in that licit process as we prepare to enter into the realm. But along the way to that mammoth occurrence, something like an icicle of foreboding is forming, with allegations of deep fake audio leaks, questions being raised about the limits of freedom of expression, amid warnings from the Nigerian government to Peter Obi and his running mate Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed against inviting insurrection. And of course calls for the legal issues around the election to be resolved before the swearing-in ceremony on May the 29th. So how do we unpack all that? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the Director General of the Labour Party's Campaign Council, High Chief Akin Oshuntoku. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
You're welcome.
And High Chief as opposed to Low Chief or No Chief
the
at all.
meaning of my title is actually Field Marshal. Balloon. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I add that to your stream of titles already. But
exactly.
Thank you very much indeed for coming in. Where do things stand now from your perspective? Because there won't be any more reckoning beyond the courts, will there?
Isn't that sufficient? The process, the court, going to the court is an process, of the election cycle. So it's a very significant, process. Not any less significant, than the actual voting itself. Because if the actual voting is becomes victim of fraud, of criminal manipulation, then the role of the court is to redress that. So actually the court seem to have is the final habitat, on the elections. So
do you feel confident?
Yes, of course. And of course, the weight of, and that's why there is all these distractions all over the place. The ploy, we had this today, another thing tomorrow. It's a ploy, a kangaroo trick to crowd out, the weight. There are weighty allegations in the petition, and they know incontestable infractions. So what they've come up is this ploy, to deflect, to distract, from the core issue at the moment, which is the petition lying before the court. If I were in their position too, I would be jittery. The scripture says, wicked run, even though nobody is chasing him. If you are a receiver of a stolen good, you are going to be apprehensive. So I understand the state of paranoia that they are in. And many of these things being bandied around the interim government, forging something. It's all part of a ploy, to diffuse, what is going on with the courts.
Well, to be entirely fair, I understand what you're saying about them, the other side, reacting to your description of them as reacting to your petition in court. But beyond those people who you would expect to react, there's been a whole slew of independent senior advocates of Nigeria who have examined the grounds on which you filed your petition and are saying that you don't really stand a chance.
Charles, I'm surprised you're bringing it up.
Well, I'm simply airing the other side.
So we also have the same number. Number of
I like that.
We take, Well, as I said, I've seen the petition, I've gone through it, and I've seen a lot of evidence. It is not
to be trifled with.
It is not contestable. It will take, I don't know how to put it, an unconscious, or somebody who lacks conscientiousness as a judge to rule, Otherwise, it's too brazen. It's like 1 plus 1 is 2. It's as clear as that. You know. So
what is the sequence of events now? I mean, are you getting any sense of when this will come up in the tribunal?
Of course, I mean, within this week or next week, the case will start, you know, at the tribunal and then the appeal court.
Right.
So it's not, we are fully prepared and ready for, I mean, we have a solid case. You know, they were so careless, you know, and reckless in the manipulation of the results that you don't need the primary school board who tell you that there's something wrong here. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the corners of the picture then, because I mean, you talked about what you described as distractions and all the things that are going on, but those things are going on, and therefore they fall within the news space. Let's talk about the audio leak of a purported private conversation between Peter Obi and Bishop David Oyedepo, in which Mr. Obi is alleged to have described the elections as a religious war. The Labour Party, your party, says it's a deep fake of Mr. Obi's voice concocted by the APC. Tell us more about your line of argument there.
There's nothing to add to it. I mean, a concussion is a concussion. Now look, I don't know if you must have been following the CNN of recent, you know, and it's a coincidence. I'm sure that you will have had the news that on the negative potential of artificial intelligence. And it's being led by...
We did something on it last night.
Exactly.
Yeah, on this program.
You know, this is precisely the reason they are calling for a ban, a temporary ban on the development of artificial, because it can serve these kind of devious purposes.
They're called sound-alikes, that part of artificial intelligence. Yeah. But there's no evidence that yours, I mean, you haven't presented incontrovertible evidence that yours was a sound-alike rather than him.
It's you that you are presenting it. The onus is on you to prove that it is authentic. Not, if you say it's okay, prove that it is authentic. I'm saying that it is not, right? It's, and let us see, as a matter of fact, it's a good occasion for you to bring out those behind it. Because that is very important.
Yeah, but those they're not in a court of law. You're in a court of public opinion.
Yes.
And when it comes to public opinion, people can easily be influenced by simply the existence of that tape. So the onus is on you to come out and say that this is not true.
And that is precisely what you have said. Yeah. And I remain, in that position. You know, weaponization of religion, right, was actually introduced to Nigerian politics in this electoral cycle, you know, by those who came up with the ticket of this Muslim ticket. Pray. How are people expected to react to that? Right? I don't believe in religious politics, but look, you are looking to balance your ticket, right? And the best way you think you can balance it, right, is to do that which is, offensive, objectively offensive to a segment of the people. Will you blame any Christians of the North to see himself as being under siege by that kind of ticket? It's an offensive. Those are the people who are actually triggering a religious war in the country. They came up, they institutionalized it. It wasn't that they were talking about it on a phone. That was their ticket. Religious division. The weaponization of religion. That is what the ticket they gave us. It is like doing the wrong thing to attain, for them, the end justifies the means. That is the attitude of Satan. You are inviting people to see you as a champion.
The APC have, of course, they pounced on this, accusing Mr. Obi of promoting a religious agenda. Questions, of course, being raised on the other side of how such a private conversation went public, because it is, of course, illegal to record someone's phone call without their consent. But nevertheless, it is now in the public domain. and you have to admit that it raises uncomfortable questions for your candidate.
Yes, well, that is precisely that. Look, let us put it in a context, the political context within we are in. Look, first and foremost, were it to be true, I mean, it was said to have been recorded somewhere around Christmas last year. If you have that kind of item with you, is it more reasonable or is it more useful for you to use it before the election or after?
Well, it depends on when you got your hands on.
No, but
I mean, that's the answer to that question.
No. Listen, those who have the capacity to do that, right? I don't know how they are working in concert. It's like a choreograph with the what they are doing, the others are doing. My own belief is that it is a concussion. When the weight of the petition, probably the own lawyers have been saying, look, we have a bad case. Go and look for things that can serve as powerful distractions or deflections from what we are doing, to agitate the mind of people. And to a large extent, whoever is the devil incarnate behind that, we've got to give it to him. The manipulation of opinion to achieve.
But did that conversation take place?
No.
Because the reason I asked that is, I mean, you could make the argument that the conversation, parts of it were doctored, but I mean, or not. But the point is, did it actually take place?
No, it didn't take place. That's what I'm saying. Look,
that was saying that from start to finish, it doesn't. It's not. It's a completely manufactured tape.
Yes, it is.
Right. So, are we likely to see Peter Obi come out and publicly clarify, as you are doing, whether this is fake or not, rather than having you or some other person who represents him come out and do it?
I don't think that he should do that. He will just be giving oxygen to the mischief. It's not. I've told you the purpose is meant to serve. Well, did you all through the campaign? Did you hear him in a slip of tongue refer to anything near that, anything divisive of Nigeria? The first thing he will tell you, don't vote for me because I'm Igbo. Don't vote for me because I'm a Christian. That is the standard line in his campaign rhetorics. Not one. There was no slip of tongue. If you were the kind of people they are portraying in that tape, you will have not been there. So this is what we are dealing. I will not advise him to speak to what. He will just keep. I've stated the position of the campaign, of course, which is knowledge. So what purpose will it serve by him to say that, look, it's trash, but as I said, it's a devious ploy, to agitate the minds of the people to, and of course they are not just doing that. They are doing so many things alongside it. Interim government, treason. These are the words that are being
Well, let me come to that treason bit, because I'm sure you heard